my name is Jan Summerfield. I'm the manager of the Staff Support and Counselling Service, and I guess I'm the lead for critical incident stress management. So my role today is to introduce the conference, but most of all allow people to share their fabulous stories of CISM. We matter. And we do difficult jobs, and those people out there do difficult jobs, and very often those difficult things happen in the dead of night, early hours of the morning, and equipping people with skills to be able to look after themselves when those things happen has got to be a must. The highlight for me was just walking into the event today and seeing so many people enthusiastic about this. I started this, my personal campaign, my professional campaign, 19 years ago. And when I first had an event, 6 people turned up. We've got 120 people here today and had to refuse places. So for me, the power of walking in and sensing the enthusiasm, and even now, even more so. And of course, Professor Stephen Regal turning up as well has been a highlight as well.
I think real highlight for me is the opportunity to kind of really bring people together to kind of share experiences. And people have been using CISM for obviously quite a few years, and it's really great to hear the stories in terms of how people have embedded it within their own teams, their own services. I think the value of really bringing people together face to face again is really kind of sharing those experiences in a different way.
I think for me, apart from hearing all the stories that people have already given, the fact that I think it's reaffirmed to us that we use CISM, like Neil was saying, on a daily basis. So within the team, with our manager, when we come back from visits or court or something that's happened, we do it quite naturally without thinking about it. And hearing one of the other speakers, for me, really reinforced that that's what we do on a daily basis. We use the techniques that we've learned with staff as well as victims that we support.
Yeah, I think the same. I mean, sort of, you don't realise that you're using the skills. We've been lucky enough not to have to do a debrief, but it doesn't mean that we're not using the skills that we've learned from CISM. So it's helped us to help victims of abuse, and I think it's the normalisation, you know, the things that people are feeling is the highlight for me. To the power of making them realise that is, you know, a normal reaction to what they've been through, and that's quite powerful.
It's the effect it has on practice and in the workplace that is really, you know, great to see and hear that it is effective and it does work.
I think what has been a significant highlight for me is this idea of transferable skills. The fact that what we've seen here is that peer support, CISM, diffusing, debriefing, especially after really difficult events in the workplace, has been used not just in mental health, but in critical care, palliative care, and in midwifery. You know, so the transferability of skills and the application of the framework and the model in so many different settings has been really amazing to see.
I think it's important to remember it's about psychological debriefing. Obviously, one of the topics we've just had is already covered. You know, we don't want it to be a blame culture, and I think debrief the word in the past has always been associated with what's gone wrong, whereas this is actually more about making sure that people are okay, what we can do to continue to support, and changing the culture of how debriefs are viewed, I think, is the most important part.
I think the thing from CISM, the best thing you can learn is kind of skills to support people who have experienced traumatic events, and I think that can actually be fed through in all sorts of different areas, you know, even your private life if you've come across somebody who's really struggling, and I think that will probably be the most important thing that you can really take away from today.
Oh, I think the normalisation of what's happened and what you're debriefing about. The normalisation, I think, is really useful to learn that it is normal what you've gone through, and going through those steps of the CISM training that we went through. It's very normal, the reactions are very normal.
I think that there's a place for everybody, no matter what the role or the organisation. It's about people and being human and listening and taking on board whatever it is for that individual.
For me, it's about everybody being able to support each other, giving that peer-to-peer support in-house in-house. We've gained the skills that we've needed from Jan and team, and we're now able to support each other in practice.
For me, it's the fact that it works, but I've recently been involved in pulling together a CISM debrief for a large area, something quite serious, and the fact that it was magic and it pulled together within a couple of days and it had an absolute fabulous impact that I don't think you could measure.
I think what the takeaway should be is the idea that CISM essentially is not there to prevent people from developing post-traumatic stress disorder and any of the stuff that you see in the critiques and the research. For me, essentially it's about providing social support. And there's been plenty of examples of that today. It's providing social support within an organisational setting. And we know, and we have decades of evidence to say that social support's a protective factor when people have been through adverse life events, trauma, and that includes within the workplace.